Hello everyone and welcome to the live stream of Scream. My name is Signe Endresen. I'm an art educator and also the hostess of this live stream. And today we're going to talk about the Scream, or whether or not it is fact or fiction. And with me today to talk about this, we have the art historian Signe Endresen. Hi Signe.
Hi Signe.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So Signe, first of all, what exactly are we looking at?
Well, we're looking at Scream. Scream is such an iconic image, and most people have seen it several times, and I'm sure seen it for hours on this live stream. And when something is repeated so many times, it's almost easy to overlook what we're actually seeing. So I thought I'd just do a short recap of what we're actually seeing in the picture, in the composition.
Great.
In the foreground, we see a figure with the hands around the cheeks. In the background to the left, some other figures. There's a road or maybe a bridge with railing. And to the right, we see a landscape with some water maybe, and above it all, wavy lines in the sky that's red.
So I heard that Munch wrote a text connected to Scream.
He wrote several texts, actually. Munch was very interested in literature. He read Edgar Allan Poe, Dostoevsky, Nietzsche, Kierkegaard, and he also hung out with a lot of writers in Berlin in the early 1890s. And this is when this imagery was developed. And he had some literary ambitions of himself. He wanted to publish his text. And the text that you're referring to, the handful of texts that we have, they're literary sketches, sort of describe basically the same situation. It says, I was walking down the road with my two friends, and he leans over the railing. His friends leave him, and he is overcome with angst, and he feels a scream go through nature. So that's basically the scene that's being described.
So let me get this straight, they're not diary notes?
It's easy to assume that they are diary notes because the text goes, I was walking. But the fact that they exist in so many different versions, it makes it more likely that these are literary sketches. And if we look at it that way, then the I in the text isn't necessarily Munch, it's a character in the text. And probably Munch reworked the text in order to find or sort of develop or explore the emotion that he was really looking at or wanted to express, and that he wanted to visualize in the paintings.
And that leads me to the next question, which is this a self-portrait of Edvard Munch?
Again, since the text goes, I was walking down the road, it's easy to assume that this is a visualization of that text, and that if you assume that the text is something that he experienced himself and that it's a diary entry, then that would make the figure Munch himself. But the figure doesn't look like Munch
at all.
It doesn't have his characteristics. And the body is all wavy. It doesn't have any of the sort of gender attributes. It could be any gender. It could be any person, really. It's not being locked into a specific identity.
So where exactly is this taking place?
We don't know that either. But it has been pointed out that the view is similar to that, what we see from the eastern part of Oslo, or Christiania as Oslo was known back then. It's an area that Munch knew well. and then the landscape in the background would be downtown Oslo.
Right.
But it's not really important for the painting. And in the text, it doesn't specify a geographic location. So the fact that it looks like Oslo isn't very important in order to understand what he's trying to express, the emotion or the feelings that he has visualized.
Absolutely, I agree with that one. But then that leads me to the next question. Signe, what exactly is this scream in the painting?
Yeah. When I started studying art history, I assumed that it was the figure that was screaming. The mouth is open, and then the scream affects the landscape around the figure. And what we see in the sky, the wavy skies, and also the wavy body is sort of just sound waves resulting from the scream of the figure in the foreground. But if we study the text, Munch writes that the figure feels a scream go through nature. So it's the scream is affecting the figure. So it's the external affecting the figure.
So does it matter whether or not it's fact or fiction?
I think it does. I think it's important. I think we should look at the images for what they are. We have so much material. We know so much about Munch's life, what he did at certain times in his life, and his writings, his notes, his letters. So it's very tempting to try and sort of connect the dots between scenes in his paintings or his images and things we know happened in his life or that he writes about and has happened to him. But in this case, I think, or in general, I think it's important to try and just look at the painting. What is it that we see? And in this case, there are many arguments for it not being something personal necessarily. And this is something a lot of people have experienced or will experience during their life, despair, angst, isolation. And since it's not locked into any specific gender, it could be anybody at any place in their life.
Absolutely. So Signe, thank you very much for joining us on this talk on Scream.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for following this live stream. Remember, follow the live stream for future talks with different viewpoints on Scream. Thank you very much. Bye.